everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Ebony Tondalea and I'm back with another video. So today's video is going to be about something a little bit more sensitive. What it's like to be a single mom, a teen mom, young mother and pregnant, mother of two, 23 years old, working mom. Everything that I go through on a day-to-day basis, I am going to be talking about in this video today. And I am a little nervous. It's not something I've ever really broadcasted before, but it is something that I deal with, and it does come with its struggles. The only people that really know about it is me and my significant other. And it's you know, something that I kind of want to talk about and share, bring awareness to people, just tell my story, because I do have a lot of goals that I plan to set within the next coming years, and that includes businesses, opportunities. I don't want to have to work a 9 to 5 anymore. There's a lot of things that I am trying to get to when it comes to the paths that I want to take in my life. And I really also want to be a spokesperson or talk to young girls about a lot of the challenges that I face, and the fact that I'm always going to be facing challenges is something that I had to come to terms with, and it comes with adulthood, and it's something that I'm realizing to this day. But I would still love to, you know, get a word out or touch people that need to be touched in the places that I wish that I had when I was going through the struggles that I went through. So I'm not gonna keep talking about that per se, but I'm gonna get into the topic of this video. So I'm just gonna start this video off by starting from the beginning. That's the best place to start, right? At the age of 16, I got into my first relationship with my children's father. And from then on, I've pretty much been in a relationship ever since. The relationship that I had with my children's father ran about 6 years. It was a pretty okay relationship. The beginning, of course, is always better than the end. And especially when you're a child and you're a teenager, you know, it's kind of like puppy love, I would like to say. I mean, I feel like the person that you marry is very much a different love than the puppy love that we have in our teenage years. So about 4 years into the relationship, at the age of 19, about 3 or 4 years into it, I became pregnant, and I had my first child, my daughter Nyla, and I had her at 19. I had her literally the same month as my birthday, and our birthdays are 3 days apart. I would just probably have to say I didn't realize how much of a turn things take when you have a child, especially at being the age that I was at 19. I was very young, very young. I was always kind of like a party girl. I didn't drink too much, but I do like to have a good time. That's just in my personality. So I didn't realize that after having my daughter that it would take a shift. After having my daughter, I'm not gonna lie to you, having my daughter, it was a change for me. I had to learn how to go to work, make more money than what I usually made. I had to make at least twice as much as that having a kid, having to provide for a kid. I worked full-time as a server at Olive Garden. So that wasn't my first job, but that was my first job after I had my daughter. So I worked at Olive Garden for about a year. I was a server. It was kind of tough for me. Not to say like serving is tough, but the job became stressful to me because, you know, management, it was a very hectic job, and it was very easy to catch either a headache or an attitude, and who wants that, you know? So that's kind of what I had to go through when I worked at Olive Garden, and what that had as an impact on my social life. I would have to say I did go out way less, but I feel like it did mature me. It wasn't all that bad. I still had my fun, but of course that's like another pile of responsibility that you have to, you know, worry about, and that's just what comes with being a parent. You gotta take care of it. So that's what you do when you're a mom. Now after my, you know, having my daughter, as she's growing up, you know, things are changing. I changed my job. I left Olive Garden, and I got hired at the post office. So I started my post office job when I had my daughter. I probably made way more money you know, I mean, collectively, then I felt like I personally did being a server. I didn't see any, you know, real reason why I should keep serving and working off of tips when I can get an actual paycheck from a federal job. So that's the, you know, that's the way I went with, and I felt like that was the smarter option. So that's what I did. And I feel like it was a very smart option. I'm still at that job right now. And I'm gonna get into, you know, why it's much different now for me working than it was when I only had my daughter. I'm gonna get into that real soon because it's like, whoa, like, I'm catching a headache just thinking about it, honestly. But anyway, when I first started working at the post office, I just had my daughter, and at the time, I think I was living at home. I lived with my grandmother all my life. Actually, pause. All right, before I even get into the halfway of the year part, when I came into the post office in 2016, I probably was working there for like a week or 3 weeks. And I actually found out, I think probably within the first week of me actually starting at the post office, I discovered that I was pregnant. And it was like, it was like a lot for me because I had just gotten this post office job. I didn't want to be out of a job again. I didn't want to have to go through maternity leave again. Yeah, it was just a lot of things that I didn't want to do. I wanted to keep my job. You know, I was not ready to have a second child. I don't know if it was 7 days or like two weeks after, but while I was working at the post office, I actually wound up having a miscarriage. I had that miscarriage the first day of my off day. So I was off from work, and then I had a miscarriage. So I went through a whole bunch of pain, whole bunch of bleeding. You know, I got rushed to the emergency room. You know, just, I guess that's like the protocol. The first thing you think of to do is go to emergency room. If you're a mother or you ever had miscarriages, you know, like, it's really nothing that you can do to stop a miscarriage. Like, usually the baby's already flushing out your system. Not too many people, probably no one knows this other than my child's father, but I had a miscarriage prior already. So that was my second miscarriage. I had a miscarriage with my first child. And I think I was like 18 at the time. It's a little hard to discuss that because no one knows that. Probably like a few of my friends, maybe, if that. But none of my family knows that. So yeah, I just let out a family secret. Well, it's not a family secret, it's a secret of mine, but I don't mind to share it because I know a lot of women do go through miscarriages, and I always like to take it back because I can relate to it. I had the miscarriage, but I, you know, worked throughout, right before the year changed, right before 2017 came. It was probably like around the holidays, most likely like Thanksgiving holiday, and of course I just had a miscarriage about 4 or 5 months ago. I actually turned up pregnant, and this is the pregnancy that I had with my son, and like, he's like my little baby bear. I love him so much. Things weren't already in a good place. The relationship that I was in was pretty sour at that point. That's the way things were for the first few months of that pregnancy, and so the pregnancy overall just wasn't great for me. Honestly, since I've had the pregnancy with my son, other than my son being born, I feel like my life has changed drastically and dramatically, and it's kind of like a hard pill for me to swallow. I was content with having my daughter, but honestly, after having my second child, like, I just didn't know if I was coming or going anymore. My life completely changed. My social life changed. I felt like I was all alone. My family telling me that, you know, having these babies was wrong, and being pregnant, shouldn't do anything, an abortion, a whole bunch of negativity, and I pushed past it. Just because, you know, I could have been aborted, and my mother is sick. She has a mental illness. I felt like, why should I abort children when my mother is going through her issues and she could have aborted me? I've had an abortion before, so I know how it is, and it's not easy at all. It's not easy to have an abortion. It's not easy to be pregnant. It's not easy to give birth. It's not easy to be a mother. It's not easy to be a mother of two. And your whole life changes. And honestly, like, I actually see pregnancy in a different outlook now. I don't even see the way I used to see it, you know, like, oh wow, this is such a beautiful thing, you know. Now it's like kind of stressed me the hell out to where I feel like, am I ever going to be ready to have another kid? You have children to look after, and it's a big responsibility. And honestly, sometimes I feel like it was a responsibility that I wasn't ready for. I don't like to think about it at all. I just like to go about my business, take care of my children, and try to make it to work. Just thinking about something that you feel like, you know, you wasn't sure if it was the best decision for you or not, really is like a knife to your throat. That's what I've been going through this entire year, you know, just trying to understand what my situation is and try to understand that my life has changed drastically. I just feel like no one understands me, and except for my boyfriend. Being a mother of two and, you know, trying to figure out what's next and how to provide for your family and make a better life from where you're at right now, it can be a lot, and it's a lot to deal with, and it comes with a lot. 2 children is not easy, and it's not the life that I thought I wanted, but it's a life that I am choosing to take on right now because I do it for them, and they motivate me, and, you know, they give me something to smile at and something to laugh at every day. So I wouldn't take that away for anything. You know, I would go through this experience all over again if it was meant to do it for them. And that's really all I wanted to speak about. That's just my experience being a young mom and being a mother at the age of 19 and being a mother of 2 by the age of 22. It's very extremely hard, and, you know, as a mom, I just try to get through it every day. That's the bigger picture right here, is just to get through it and to make it through the day. Anyway, so I'm gonna get off of this video because I don't want to start crying and keep crying on camera. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love you. Peace.